Okay, so to start sending our user or customer input to the MongoDB database, first of all, I'm just going to open the MongoDB compass here. So MongoDB compass. So this is the GUI MongoDB. If you are good in the shell too, you can use the MongoDB shell. So this how our MongoDB uh, compass or GUI looks like. Now this is the connection string that we need to use in connecting our PHP to a MongoDB database. So first of all, let me connect then show you what we have here. So when I connect, you can see we have we have three database here. That's the admin, config, then local. So we're going to create our own database. So what I'll do is let's create our own database by clicking here. So you click the plus, then the name of the database is going to be my DB. So I'm just going to name this my DB. Then at least when creating with MongoDB, when creating a database, you need to give it at least one collection. So if you transfer this, if you are to look at at my SQL perspective, this is going to be a table. So the collection name is going to be a table. Then the database name will still be the database name. So let's assume we are creating a table, but in MongoDB we don't call it a table, we call it a collection. So the name will be users. So you have the users collection. So I'm just going to create the database here. So you can see now we have our database, my DB, then we have a collection called users. So whatever we send from the signup.php, we are going to send it and insert it into users, which is a document or a collection. Okay, so now let's go back to our PHP file here. Then on top of PHP, no, I'm not going to do it here. The action, yeah. So let's come to action. Now, the action is going to redirect us to a PHP page, which is going to handle our server page. So what I'll do is I'll create a folder inside our main project folder called the Mongo. I'm going to create another folder, so new folder, and I'm going to name this actions. So you can give it any folder name that you want. I prefer using actions. So I'll press enter. So inside actions, I'm going to create another file called so I'm going to save this file as signup.php. So you can give it any name you want. You can use signup_action.php, signup function, whatever name that you prefer, you can just use it. So I'm just going to use signup.php. Then what I'll do is yeah, when we come back to our for me not to confuse you guys, what I'll do is I'm just going to rename the page as actions.php. Okay, so I'm going to have all my actions here. So now let's come back to the action attribute. Then inside it, I'm going to pass in the folder name, which is actions. Then inside the actions, we have a file called actions.php. Okay, so inside this one, I can just open the PHP block here. Then I can print something like hello. So when I click on sign up, so this is a mandatory field. I'll just pass in some random codes here. When I click on sign up, it should so we have action, then actions.php. Okay, so instead of print, I'm just going to use echo. So echo hello. I'll refresh this. Then I'm going to refresh the page and click on okay, so you can see now I have hello here. Whenever I click on the sign up, it's going to redirect us to the action page, which contains the PHP block for the sign up page. Okay, so now let's create. What you have to do is you have to go back to the folder that we created on our desktop. Remember the first folder that we used the composer. We used the composer to download the drivers, and I named I named mine as I think Mongo driver. Okay, so the folder name was Mongo driver. Now let's copy the vendor folder. So copy, yeah, copy it here. I'll close it. Then I'll go to htdocs where I have the Mongo folder for my project. So the project name is Mongo folder. I'm just going to open this. Then I'll paste it here. Okay, so now I've added the drivers, MongoDB driver to my project here. Now I can start using the driver. So I'll go back to my text editor in my web browser. What I'll do is now I'm going to require, so require, can use include or require. So we're going to require the directory, sorry. So here is, we have the underscore, we have to enter it twice. So first one, then the second underscore. So we're going to require the directory, which is so we have vendor. The inside vendor you have a file called autoload.php. Okay, so if you don't know this is not magic. I'm just referring everything from the MongoDB documentation here. So this is what they have here. So once you have it, once you have the library installed, ensure that your application includes the composers autoloader as in the following example. So you can just copy this here. You come here, then you paste. It's the same thing that I did. Okay, but you have to make sure you have the vendor folder in your project. So when you open the vendor folder, you can see we have a file here called autoload. This is what we need. You just need this file, and whatever I refer from this file will be picked from the other folder. So you don't worry about the other folders. We need only the autoload. So make sure you have the vendor folder in the root of your project. Okay, so now I can minimize this now. After requiring, so let me just give a comment here. This pulls the driver MongoDB driver from vendor. Okay. Now what you have to do is let's go back to, so now what you have to do, you have to connect to the database. So what to connect to the database, let me just disconnect here. You're going to use a connection string here. That's the connection, the URI, the connection string that we have here. So to do that, first you have to create a variable. So I'm going to create a variable called database connection, which is equal to new Mongo driver. So is it MongoDB client? Okay. So you can do this, or we have another method like this one. So instead of client, you are going to open this. Then I'll copy the string here. I'll paste the string here. So you have something like this. Okay. Sorry. So you have bring your $sign. So the first one is the same thing as this connection is the same as this connection. Okay, so you can use any of them, but don't use both at the same time. So I'm going to use the first, I'm going to comment this out and use the first one. Okay, so now I'm going to, let me give it a comment. So connect to MongoDB database. Then from there, after connecting to the database, we need to connect to our database. So this is just the connection string to connect to the MongoDB database, and this doesn't connect to your actual database. So to connect to your actual database, I can say now my database is equal to this connection here. Then inside this connection, you're going to use an arrow function here, which maps to our database called, so let's look at the name of our database that we created. I think it was my DB. Okay, so my DB. then I'll always make sure you end it with semicolon, or you're just going to run into an error. Okay, so now after, so this is connecting to specific MongoDB. So after connecting to our um, database, what you have to do is you have to now connect to our user collection. So as I keep saying, just think of the user collection as the table. Okay, so let's connect. You're connecting to our table, but just that in MongoDB. So if you are someone from my SQL background, think of it as a table. But in MongoDB, we use or we classify it as a collection. So now let's connect to connecting to our MongoDB collection. You can have multiple collections here. You just need to, if you're connecting to all of them, you just need to list them down here. Since you're connecting to, so when you come to the GUI, when you click on the drop down, you can see you have only one collection called users. So you're connecting to the user collection, which is, so I'll say user collection, which is equal to your database here. That's the database name, which is my DB, which also maps to the user collection. So users. So the name we have here should be the same as what we have here. So if we're able to do this, then let me just do away with this one. We're able to do this. So this is how we connect to our MongoDB collection. So I want to test this. Okay. So I want to test this by using a condition here. Then I can say that if this is successful, if this is able to connect to our user collection, then let's show a message that collection, I'll pass this here. Connected. So this is going to pull the name of the collection, then it shows whether it's connected or not. So collection, else if it's not connected, then we should just show an error message here. Failed to connect to database or collection. Okay, so now let's go back to our web browser. I'm going to refresh this. I'll fill in some random form here. When I click now, so you can see now I have, it says, so I'm running into this error. It says require once. So MongoDB. So inside actions. Okay, so what I did was I need to bring, sorry, this double dot here. I'll go back, refresh. I'm still having this thing here. So line 4. So require one vendor. Then I think no. So I'm inside actions and I have to come out of actions and enter vendor. So when you use this, let me just do away with this one. Let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see now this is working. So I can delete the directory here. Then I think this work. Okay, so you can see now collection my db.users connected. So when you come to MongoDB, you can see I have the database name called my DB. Then inside the database, then we are targeting a collection called users. So that's what we have here. So collection my database, which is my DB, then the collection name, which is users. So this is successfully connected. If this fails to connect, so I can say, let me just add a number to the users here. So I have users 4. Now when I refresh this, it says users 4 connect. I don't have any Sorry, let me just, sometimes it will just auto create it for you, so just connect. Okay, so it didn't. So I don't have any database called users for, but it's still connected, so don't worry about that. Then, or let me target. Okay, let me target the DB. I'll add 4 to my DB. Then I'll press. That one also connected. I don't know why, but I shouldn't connect. This, I think this will connect, but when you try to or perform any operation, I'm not sure this is going to work. It will. It's, even if it works, it will auto create the database and the collection. Okay, so now I know my connection works. I can just comment them out because I don't need to show that on my screen. Okay, so now what you have to do is um I don't want to be including everything here. So let's work on it. Now what I have to do is I have to make sure I pick the input from this page, the sign up page, then send them to this page. So I'm just going to use some I'm going to use a post here. So I'm going to say that if the form is set, so if it's set $_post, then we are going to pass this name, okay, which is the sign up. So copy the sign up here. So this will only sorry, this will only happen when you click on the sign up. So I can just echo clicked on sign up. So let's look at what's happened here. So I'll go back, I'll refresh, fill in some random form here, click. So you can see now I clicked on sign up. Okay, this is working. So we're going to pass in the values by using the post method here. We are going to just pick the name, the email, and the rest. So let's pick the name here. So I'm going to create a variable here, which I'll say is equal to $_post. I'll pass in this. I'll copy and paste this multiple times. Sorry. Okay, so I have this here. So the next one was L name. Then after L name, I think we have email. Then from email, we have phone number. Let me just copy and paste. Then we have password. Okay, so with password, if you want to do any validation, you can just do a confirm password. You can add a confirm password field to it. You don't need that one. So let's just go straight to the point here. So password. Now the password, look at what happens here. I'm just going to echo out only the password. So I'll come here, I'll fill this form, and you can see on the front end, you can see the password is visible. So when you come back to the sign up page, you just change the type here from text to password. So I did this intentionally. So I just wanted to show you how and why we use password. So now when I fill the form, you can see now our password is hidden. I don't know the password now. But when I try to sign up, because I'm using the echo here, the echo prints out the information. So because I'm using echo, it's going to show me the password. So when I click on this, so this is the password. But I can see this is a plain password, and it's very bad for when you are creating a real world applications. You need to make sure you hash this password. So I'm going to use one hashing method called #1, sorry, SHA-1. This is a hashing method here. The inside it will be passing the post. Okay, so when I refresh this, we are getting this. So what we had there has now been changed our hash to this random codes here. So this is accepted. Okay, now let's go back here. So when I enter 1 2, so now 1 2 is my password, but when I click on sign up, it's going to hash this. Okay, so now I can do away with the echo here. I think I'm 1 2 3 4 5. I'm done. So this is just for picking the input from the sign up field. Okay, now what you have to do is we have to bind this data or bind this input into or convert it to an array before we send them to MongoDB, because MongoDB deals with document, and the document is in the form of Python, okay, which is in an array form, which looks similar to JSON. So now let's convert. I'm just going to say my data is equal to an array, and inside the array I'm going to pass this. Now let's come here. You can see we have nothing here, but I want to pass in some arrays here, and I'm saying that the array should map. So you have the array name, which is going to be first name. So inside our, let me do something here. So when I try to add a document, I can say, sorry, let me just, I'm not important. Insert document. Okay, so I can see that the ID is auto generated for us. Okay, so I can say that the first name should be what? So make sure you bring your comma here. Now let me just insert this. When I try to expand this, why is it not expanding? So I'm supposed to get I didn't insert this. Let me just try again. So insert first name, which is Maxwell, then I have another one which is going to be last name, which is Kobna. Now let me just copy this, because so when I try to insert, I don't know why this is supposed to insert, but I don't know why this is not expanding, because when I expand, I should get the objects from here. But if it doesn't work, it's no problem. You can still do that. I just want to show you how and why we need to use the first name. So let me paste this here. We want to get a document like this. Okay, so the first name, which maps to Maxwell, then the last name, which also maps to Kobna. So we want to get something similar like this. So that's why I'm doing that here. So first name should map to F name. Then I will just copy this, paste it on to, so I think I have 4. Then the last one will be 5. So I'll change this to last name, which will map to L name. What else do we have? So I have email, which maps to email. So I'll say phone number, which maps to phone number, then password. So I'll use capital here, password, which maps to password. So I'll save this. Now I can do a var dump of my data and see how the data looks like. Okay, so var dump, then inside I'm just going to pass in my data. Now let's look at something. I'm going to refresh the page, fill in some random form, and I click on sign up. So unexpected token. Okay, so it should be comma and not semicolon. So comma. So at the end one, I can just do away. I'll go back, refresh, fill in the form, sign up. So you can see what I have here. Now press Ctrl U to I think format this in the correct order. So you can see now I have the first name, which is this, and it's telling us it's a string with 13 characters. The same name for, so last name to have a string, email, this is the email, the phone number, and the password. So this is what you want to insert into the MongoDB database or the collection. Okay, so I can close this now. Then I'm going to do away with the var dump. I'll go back. Now I'm going to insert into MongoDB users collection. So to do that, you just have to create another variable called insert details. Okay, I'll just use insert, which is equal to, I think, db, which is equal to, let's target the user collection, which is equal to the user collection here dot insert one. Okay, so in the insert one, just pass in the data. It's going to insert this data. Pass it in here. Then from there you can do an if else condition to check if everything was successful. So if else. Now I'm going to say if the insert is successful, then echo out something, echo successfully registered. Okay, then I'm just going to do a root echo, then use this. So I would say center, use h4, successfully registered. Now let me do some styling here. Style color, which is going to be green. Then from there, I'm just going to redirect. So I'm just going to bring an anchor tag here. So login. So after you've successfully signed up, you can just log in by going to the index.php page. So let's try this. And if this fails to, let's copy this and paste here. I'll cut this off. I'll just try again. Then this time I'll just bring the signup.php. Then I'll see that registration field. So I'm going to change the color to red. So I'll say registration field here. Now let me just refresh. I'm going to enter my real name. I'm going to enter John Junior. Pausing here. So yes, I'll just do it admin@gmail.com. Phone number, I'm going to use 020022200022. Then password, I'm going to use 1234. When I click on sign up, now if everything goes on successfully, we are going to get a success page, then a button to go to the login page. So when I click on sign up, now I'm getting uncaught error, call to a function, so insert one. Now when I come here, it's because of this dot. I need to use an arrow function here. I'll go back. I'm going to enter my password again. Then this time it should work. Okay, so successfully registered. Now when I go to login, so what was the page name? Okay, so I need to use this because we want to move out of the action folder. So when I click on this now, okay, now you're logging. Because I did a refresh, I'm going to get, I think, 2 data here. So 2 document here. Yeah. So I have the first document, which is John Junior Forsen, then the second one because I did a refresh. Okay. But if I'm developing a real world application, you can just do a check statement, or you can run a check before and make sure the user is not already in the system. So you prevent the user from registering multiple times. Okay, so I can delete one. Let me delete the first one. then the last one. So now I want just this one. So this is the document that we just inserted. So I'm just going to insert another record here. So this time I'm going to fill in some random form. Then I'll change the password to 12345. I'll click on sign up. I'll log in. I'll refresh. You can see we have our data here. So this is our document. Now this how you are able to sign up using MongoDB and PHP.